apparently to my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, everybody, if you're watching. It's now 8 minutes after, and the broadcast has turned into just like the hike, a bit of a broadcast failure. For some reason, we could not do StreamYard and OBS, so all our nice backgrounds and ads and stuff are all gone. But
That's okay, though.
Yeah,
it's all right. We're the main show, so that's what people come to see. Well, they come to see you, not me. But
I was thinking the other way around.
Well, I was just trying to be nice.
But now I don't see it broadcast on the live. Let me just go to my live page. I just want to make sure it's actually broadcasting somewhere. It says that we streamed 7 minutes ago, which was the failure. Oh, there we are. Yeah, we're actually broadcasting live.
Oh yeah, I do see it.
Okay. All right. Good. So I have that open for the chat. So if anybody has questions, please ask questions here. So we'll try and make this short because we're already 10 minutes behind. But I'm Scott Stewart, and this is Dwayne Akers, and we are the Ding Dongs. Have this.
He's
trip.
Ding and I'm Dong.
Yeah. Well, it rotates. Sometimes you're the Dong and I'm the Ding. What? That doesn't even sound right.
Yeah, I should say that again.
So we want to talk about the trip that we were on to Fortress Lake.
Fortress Lake.
Falls. Yeah, it was a long time in the planning, and we watched a ton of videos so that we could prepare for the trail. But one of the things we want to go over today is we're going to talk about the stuff that was never mentioned on any videos that we've seen, and hopefully it'll help you prepare and or not go. One of the two.
Oh, you still got to go.
Yeah, you got
100% got to go. You got to get into Fortress. You got to get in there. But, unfortunately, things happen. But Scott, do you want to lay out what the situation was, like what it was going to take for us to get in there?
Yeah. I'll start the actual plan. This was the paper plan. So we had set up with the lovely people over at Fortress Lake Retreat.
Awesome people.
Craig, the owner there, and he was going to pick us up at the lake, and we were going to do some filming at his resort for I think 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
So the plan was to make it really epic and do a bike, a hike, and a paddle to get to this lake.
Well, we had to do all of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would start off at Sunwapta Falls. We would walk 8 or 9 kilometers to Big Bend.
Big Bend was 6.3.
Was it 6.3?
Yeah.
And then we were going to carry on biking to the crossing. And all of this should have taken us a couple hours, maybe 3 tops. And then we were to inflate our pack raft, which was lovingly donated to us from Stikine Pack Rafts.
Thank you, Stikine.
Yes, thank you for this trip. And then once we crossed, we were going to pack that up and then walk another 10K into the actual lake. All in the middle of a mountain, like you're literally in the middle. We start in Jasper National Park, walk through Alberta into BC, into Hamber Provincial Park, which is where Fortress Lake is located. So, and actually, let's see, because I didn't have this set up, maybe I can actually show you a picture. How do I do that with this one? Picture. No. How do I present a picture on this one?
Well, Scott's setting that up. We definitely planned. We did a lot of planning for this trip. We planned for 2+ months. Like Scott said earlier, we definitely looked at a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of people going in there and to try to get a lay of the land before we took off. And it definitely turned out differently than we thought. Did you get it there, Scott?
No, because this isn't the version that we've paid for. It was just you'd have to upload each. Somebody's actually added something in the comments. Oh, that was me from over on YouTube. Apparently, they're connected from YouTube to the chat over here, so I don't have to watch this YouTube chat too. I'm going to close that down. That's cool. Yeah, I tried to present and then offer some pictures, but I can share a screen, which might be possible. So,
oh yeah, if you share a screen, that'll work.
Yeah, you keep talking there. I'll just put up the screen on the other side.
Yeah, sure. So we were definitely on the trail. There was a total of about 24 kilometers, give or take a kilometer, point a kilometer, what have you. But the furthest point before we crossed the Athabaskan River, that was about 14.4 kilometers from where we left the truck to where we got to the Athabaskan. And then the additional trek was crossing the Athabaskan. Now, the Athabaskan was actually, surprisingly, for the time of year, it was really high and it was really fast. We weren't worried about that too much because we had the Stikine pack raft with us. And I mean, it's such a great product. We knew it would take us across the river, no problem.
We had the big one too, which was
we had. They sent us the big one to loan us. So thanks again, Stikine pack rafts. That was fantastic. But yeah, unfortunately, and there was about after the river, there was about 9 kilometers to the lake, and then once we hit the lake, we had a Zolio or a Zulo, or I don't know how to pronounce it.
Zolio, I think. Yeah.
Zolio, and we were actually able to use that to signal the lodge and let them know what was going on. Oh, perfect, Scott. Yeah, it looks like you got the screen share going there. Excellent.
Yeah, I got screen share. So there we are on Highway 93 at Sunwapta Falls. This is all the way through to the crossing.
Just so you know, Scott, we're still on the screen. We're still seeing like the Explorer.
You don't see that picture?
No, we just see File Explorer. Do you want to maybe bring the picture up? And if it's I
see what's happened.
It's on the other screen, perhaps, or
yeah. It went to my third screen, which I don't have open. So I'll just move this over here. That should. No, it didn't like that either. Huh. Okay.
Oh, I seen it there for a fraction of a second.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's quite the delay. Wow, this is super organized. We had this all organized, but for some reason,
we were trying to use OCS.
OBS.
Oh, OBS. I always get that wrong.
I see that it's a huge delay here. This is why it's confusing me, because I'm clicking on it and it's not showing, and now I'll click on it. Now it should appear on that screen, but it's not. Okay, never mind.
Can you just move it over?
It is over on that other screen.
So just not showing. Oh, you're probably just sharing the Explorer application.
I'm gonna
instead of the entire
try
screen.
It again. Present. See if it gives me an option. Stop screen. Present. Keep talking. I can figure this out.
So Scott and I, our regular jobs are both IT, and we both work in the IT department. So Scott will get it eventually. It's just okay. Here goes. It's spinning. It's spinning. We'll see what we get. Ah, there you did it.
Huh.
Perfect.
No computer outsmart me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from Highway 93, Sunwapta Falls, that's the entire trail to the crossing. And then from the crossing, you can see it goes down to Fortress Lake on the bottom left. So that's the main part of the crossing. And the terrain, just to see, to give you an idea of the terrain, we're right dead center following that river in the center of the mountains. It is. You can see that, Dwayne?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you might. Okay. If you can zoom in a little bit, and also you don't have to close this down to show the next image. If you scroll to the bottom there's like a little clicker on the bottom, and it allows you to go to the next image. You'll have to make it smaller though. Keep going, keep going. There you go. See?
So this is where we were heading. This was where we were heading. Have a look at the vista in the background. So this was the goal.
We did see that vista though.
Yeah,
We've
we
seen
did
that vista many times from many different viewpoints. We're, you know,
right around the corner.
yeah,
Right around the
exactly.
corner. So just some of the peaks on the trip, and then we'll get into the actual trail. But this
That was Moose Lake, right?
Moose Lake, yeah.
Yeah.
The camp at what was it? Wabasa.
Wabasa and Jasper.
Wabasa, yeah. Really nice campsite. Lots of
Beautiful.
nice people there. And then this is the Sunwapta Falls where we started, which was
Yes.
pretty amazing and powerful. I've been to Niagara Falls tons, but standing underneath this, you could just feel it pounding through your chest. It was pretty cool. It's worth the destination all by itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. This is the upward side, and turning the other way, which I don't actually have a picture of. It goes down twice as far, and just it's crazy, pretty crashy, crazy. So we started out on the trail. We were pretty excited, pretty happy. Look, there's still smiles. Not for much longer, but it's shortly after this trip all the way to the Big Bend. This is what the trail looked like. Pretty amazing trail. The first 6.5 or 7 kilometers was like mostly downhill. And not to say that, hey, everything's uphill on the way home. It wasn't terrible downhill. Like it was just a slight incline. So we were doing a fair amount of coasting. And for sure, yeah, riding uphill was a little harder, obviously. But
I mean, there was lots of downhills though too, man. Like there was.
Oh, this was you ripping here. I stopped.
The first 6.3 kilometers of that trek is all pretty much downhill. There's some flat, but there's some downhill in there. And let me tell you, I've rode Whistler, Silver Star. I've rode all the big mountains.
No. Don't get into that yet. That's the second part.
Oh, okay.
We're not there yet.
All right. Keep going.
Yeah. This was a shot just before you grabbed air off of that hump there. So you could see my right there.
I took a jump off the rock.
Yeah.
With 40 pounds of gear on my back.
This was the only broken part of the whole trail. There was one little bridge board that was broken, but the rest of the trail had like really nice walkways through the swamp and stuff like that. So the first part of the trail to Big Bend was amazing, and literally this was us the whole trip. Like we were smiling until we got to Big Bend, and then shortly after is when Dwayne's going to start with the rest of that conversation. We had no mechanical failures yet. The trail was too nice for that. And and there's plenty of creeks, like ice cold, clear creeks in which to get your water. Don't get it from the swampy area. That was a tidbit into the future.
I don't know if it was a swampy area or just my lack of knowing how to use your life straw.
That's true. There's some more of the trail, like just wicked trail. Now, once we get to
Big Bend,
this is the vista. Out here in this point is the campsite. So you actually don't have to go out to the campsite. It's an extra 500 meters. I think, was that what it was? 500 meters?
250 in and 250 out.
Right. It wasn't an extra kilometer. It was an extra half. Okay.
Yeah.
So just to the right of this over here is where the trail comes through and then just continues where we're standing and then goes more to the left. But if you wanted to go into that campsite over there, it's just absolutely amazing. And you're just sitting under that vista of just gorgeous mountain. And over there in the left-hand corner, there she is. That's Fortress Mountain. That was our first peak of it. So now this is when the rest of the trail that I've never seen on any of the maps, any of the videos, nothing. Everybody says, oh, it's beautiful. It's all downhill. Well, go ahead and tell your Whistler story.
Yeah, so we get to a section of the trail, and I look down it and I see it's crazy. It's steep. Now my bike, it can handle steep, and I have lots of experience on big
and he's
mountains.
got disc brakes.
Oh yeah, hydraulic disc, of course, and suspension, and I mean it's an all mountain bike, so it's very, very capable. And I just started flying down this downhill. And I got about halfway down, it kept getting steeper and steeper and more technical, and there was rocks everywhere, and my bike just started going. And of course, I've got 40 pounds of gear on my back. I've got a backpack with 40 pounds, and one wrong move with that front brake and I'm gone over. And I haven't rode anything that steep in years. It was so technical, and I got to the bottom and I just sat there and waited for you because I was so worried, because your bike was certainly not capable, right?
Mine is a dollar store mountain bike.
It's too bad they told us that the whole thing was flat.
Yeah. If the whole trail was like that first part, it would have been glorious. So I decided or started to ascend. So I'm now fully gripped, both brakes as tight as they can go, and I'm not slowing down. Now I've got 40 pounds on my back, or on the back of my bike. I got both feet on the ground, and I'm flintstoning the brakes, and I'm still picking up speed and just trying to maneuver around the rocks and stuff. Like, there was quite large boulders on the trail, and not loose ones, but like into the mountain kind of deal. So I got going so fast, and then there was a sharp corner and cliff on the one side, and I was like, I'm not going to make that corner. So I had to bail into the side of the mountain. And I think that's probably where the first part of my damage to my bike occurred. So having that kind of weight and not having the proper brakes was a failure that I wasn't prepared for. I mean, my bike is a good bike and I use it all the time, but I was not prepared to go down the side of a mountain, literally straight down. And so we didn't realize right away. So I got my bike back up and did the rest of the corner, and still dragging my feet until I slid into where Dwayne was stopped, and he was laughing at me. And he's like, yeah, I thought you were going to die on that. And I said, yeah, I bailed twice to slow down. And once we started going again, I realized that my head unit on my bike had cracked. So I no longer had steering. It was just freewheeling. My tire would still do whatever it wanted to do. So at that point, it became quite an interesting trek, because I had set up the back of my bike to hold my backpack, so I wasn't wearing it on my back. So then I had to lean over and push down on my bike because the 40 pounds would kick this bike up. And so I was leaning over for the last, what do you say? It was 5 kilometers, because that hill was like the first 2 kilometers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you wanna flip over to the next slide?
I was just waiting because the only next slide is when we get to the actual.
Just pop it up anyways, and just let them know. Oh, that's so beautiful. So keep going.
So yeah, so I had to push the bike leaning over it, which was really hard to keep it pushed down. So I was pushing down and pushing forward. So it was pretty hard on my lower back. And by this time, Dwayne's back was like literally on fire, because his pack was really killing him the way his bike was set up. His bike was great. However, riding with the 40 pounds the way it was not the correct way to go. So by the time we arrived here, we were both a mess.
Which is the 14.4 kilometers that we talked about earlier, right?
Yeah.
So this is from the parking lot where we started to this particular lake is 14.4 kilometers, and there's a campsite here, and I forget what the name.
I think it's just called the Crossing, Athabaskan Crossing.
Athabaskan Crossing campsite. Yeah. That is what it's called. Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing about that is our timing, we were supposed to be here at around noon, and then cross at 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then we'd have basically 5.5 hours to walk into Fortress Lake. However, we arrived here at 3:30, broken and beat, and then we had to try and decide where the crossing actually was, which we couldn't find exactly. So I found that the trail markers here were kind of poor. We did guess the right ones, because there's 2 trails that one had absolutely nothing, but it was beautiful and went straight. And then the one veered through the camp, which you couldn't quite see because it was on the other side of the camp. That one ended up being where you wanted to head to, where the old bridge used to cross, and then head that way. But by the time we decided where to go and we'd locked up our bikes, my back had time to really seize up, and we picked up the backpacks, and I think we only walked not even a kilometer down to that point, right? After we
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
and I was like, this isn't gonna happen. My back was killing me, and I
your knees were giving you a hard time too, right? Like it wasn't just one thing. It was
leaning over the bike the way I had to push it was
Yeah.
just putting so much pressure all over my body. So I knew that if we crossed, we would be done over there at maybe 5:30, which would only given us 2.5 or 3 hours to do the 10K, which would have been enough
We could have done it. Yeah, we could have done it.
if we didn't take much for breaks. But I knew we were going to have to break with my back the way it was.
Yes.
So we kind of had to make a decision. Do we stay here the night, or try and go over and then find a place? Like, there's no campsites along that route. So what's better? Do we stay at a campsite, or do we just stay on the side of the trail somewhere? And one of the deciding factors for us was, because let's just fill everybody in, we didn't have backpacking gear because we were supposed to be at the lodge this night. So we didn't have any sleeping bags or tent or any of the cooking
axe, saw.
Yeah, we didn't have actual
Nothing.
camping stuff. So one of the deciding factors was somebody, and if you're watching or even get hold of this, somebody left a Mountain Equipment Co-op tent fly at this location, brand new. I don't know why they would have left it, but thank you. So we said, you know what, if we're going to have one thing to cover us, it might as well be this. And it was a good thing because I think it started pouring at around 5 o'clock in the morning. So
yeah, no, I mean, it was great finding that, when you're in the bush and you're in not a survival situation, but you're on an unplanned situation in the bush. Yeah. It's always nice to find something like that, like a tent fly or something that can give you some shelter. I mean, we would have done it differently if we didn't find that, obviously, but it definitely was. I mean, it made our job a lot easier out there and reduced the amount of energy that we had to expend.
We did find a lot of stuff. We found rope and twine and all kinds of stuff to help us tie this down with. So here's what we ended up putting together. So we had the fire in front here, and then we were basically sleeping on our packs and our life jackets.
Yeah, that's my bed right there.
That's
my life jacket was my ground sheet, and my pillow was my bag with my clothes in it. So it wasn't too bad though.
So we had to do inventory. First thing you do when you've realized that you're going to be in a position like this is you got to go through all your bag, find out what you actually have, what's useful for us for the evening. And so that was us putting everything all over the table. And basically I had 25 pounds of camera gear. So, that's why my pack was so heavy. And then a bunch of batteries and stuff for the cameras. And then he had the raft, which was 3/4 of his weight. So we really didn't have a lot of room for the camping gear. So that's why we ended up kind of in this, I'm not going to call it a survival situation, but an awkward evening, which is probably a better way to describe it. We'll get to that in a minute. So this was our view for the entire night, staring at the fire, taking turns, mostly Dwayne, because I don't know, maybe I was busy sleeping. I don't know. But
he was trying to sleep. He was trying to sleep, but he was also worried about the mice.
So. Oh my goodness. You know what? I would have preferred to have a bear wander through. It would have been more exciting. But yeah, so apparently sleeping on the ground without a tent. Mental note, mice crawl all over you all the time. And that's not cool. So so it started off, we were just about passed out, and don't make fun of us, but we were watching an episode of Star Trek on his phone.
You told them?
Yeah. Well, it was emergency.
We're going to be harassed forever now.
It was an emergency. So we were watching something on his phone to pass the time throughout the evening, and he just passed out, and then all of a sudden he jarred awake, and just like he was on fire. And I'm like, what? And he's like, there was a mouse in my pant leg. And I'm like, what? And then I realized that there was mice crawling everywhere. And they just hadn't gotten to me yet.
Yeah.
And that was the worst of the night, because whenever you would fall asleep, all of a sudden you'd feel something in your cheek, and then you'd whack it. And the one fun part of the story, I was sleeping with my arm like this, and I woke up and there was one sitting there staring at me like one of those Disney cartoons, wait, what's the Ratatouille gonna cook me something? And I freaked out and I slapped it, and then it bounced over and landed on Dwayne's head, and then I smashed it to get it out of there. But
I think he just wanted to hit me. Honestly, I think he was just pissed and he wanted to hit me.
You were snoring. Yeah, let's be
honest.
Yeah,
exactly. I was snoring and you were mad that I was sleeping and you hit me.
So because
I didn't feel no mice.
Yeah, I smashed it off his head, and it flew out. And so probably the mice ended at around 2:00, maybe 3:00 in the morning, something like that. So we did end up getting a little bit of sleep, but this was us. This was us here making the final decision. We called this the table talk, and minutes before, I was quite upset because we had made plans. Like, I look back at my calendar, I'd been making these plans for 5 months, and all the fine details, and arranging the pack raft, arranging the stay at the lodge, and just everything that we had to arrange, and the passes for the park passes and parking at Sunwapta.
And the first night camping and everything.
And all of a sudden I was just like, we're not making it across. And I was pretty upset about it. Verklempt would be the word, I think. Verklempt. Is that
Scott was upset.
I was upset about it. Yeah. Letting people down is what was hurting my feelings. So anyway, we survived the night, obviously. We're not dead.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you get into a situation like that, I mean, the only thing you can do really is just turn lemons into lemonade. And that's exactly what we did. You have to stay in the bush at night, essentially, right? Because you can't go 9 kilometers to the resort. You can't go 14.4K back to the truck to get our camping gear. So, you just have to make a decision at that point and just absolutely stick with it and go with it. That's exactly what we did. And it was the right call for sure.
And in the pouring rain at 5:00 in the morning, it was easy to make that decision of whether we were leaving or crossing.
Yeah.
So Dwayne wasn't feeling well either. So back to the filter story.
The next day. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you did have the cramps there at night, or they had started to. It turned out he had used my water filter backwards. And so we think he had a case of the Giardia or some type of beaver fever, because his guts were rotting. And on the trail the next day, there's lots of grease patches in the bush.
Although I have to say, there was a lot of Nature's toilet paper, the moss out there, so I was extremely happy with that.
Lovely.
Yeah.
This was my makeshift.
Scott's like, enough of that talk. Bloop.
Yeah. You're freaking me out here.
You're freaking everyone out.
So I took 2 instead of having the pack on the back like I had planned on the way in, which worked great until my steering broke. Instead of having to lean over and push down on my handlebars, I decided to bodge these sticks on with some Velcro straps. And then I just laid my pack right here across the seat and a little bit on the front, which allowed me to actually stand up and then really power through the walk, which Dwayne will attest. I was moving a lot faster than he thought an old person with this much weight is.
Well, yeah, he was moving really fast he was definitely outpacing me in the last 6.5 kilometers, but I did have a parasite infection.
Yeah.
To be fair, I was completely dehydrated. And the last 6.5 kilometers, as you can imagine, we told people that the last 6.5, the first 6.5 is all downhill. It's real fast, but the last 6.5 going out, of course, you're pushing your bike, you got 40 pounds of gear, and it's all uphill. And some of those hills, they're steeper than you would think. So if you're thinking about going on this trail in general as a backpacker, but you're just kind of starting, definitely I would target Big Bend at 6.3 kilometer for your first trek in and out, because it is a lot. And of course, that's what Scott brings up.
Yeah, this was
Pictures of
about
me sleeping in the truck.
this was about 45 seconds into the truck. I had just called Craig to let him know that we weren't going to make it at all, and then I turn
I
over
fell asleep.
and there he is. He's fast asleep, which, you know, I probably was when I was. Is that a mouse poop in your ear?
It could be. It could be.
It probably would have been me too had I not been driving, but I powered through the drive back. And but let's
You
talk
did.
about next year. And I know that you have put your foot down and said, I've had enough of that. It was lovely, but not again. I think it's just because you had a terrible time, I'm sure, and that's what's in your memory.
I actually, I have to tell you, and you know, when I was there, I was saying the same thing. Like, it sucks that we didn't go to Fortress. I want to go there still. It's an amazing destination, a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's on. Oh yeah, there you go. Look at that. Like, Fortress, I can't say enough good things. Like, even though we didn't make it in, we were in communication with the lodge owner the entire time, and he was nothing but concerned and trying to help us on our journey. And he was just absolutely fantastic and understanding. So thank you very much to the guys at Fortress. You know, I didn't make it in there, but I'm going to. So, and I know Scott's going next year, but it's definitely on my list to come see you guys.
Yes, it is on my list. I've already started packing. I told you that yesterday, and I
You
know you
did.
laughed.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
And I've already
okay.
got the ultralight tent and everything. So
So you're bringing
gear's fine.
camping gear this time, are you?
Kidneys.
But
Once bitten, twice shy.
you know, I did actually. I didn't tell people. I have a little like 10C sleeping bag or whatever, like my little micro one that I bring for backpacking.
It's just
When
a sewn up thin blanket. It's
totally, it's silk though, so I mean, it's warm, right?
it kept the mice off.
It
That's all.
did, but also it definitely helped with temperature. It always does. Like, it's really good inside sacks. But you know, Scott's like, you shouldn't bring that. You're not gonna need that. Oh, Scott. I needed that for sure. And I think you were jealous a little bit that I had that.
Only because of the mice.
Regardless the reason.
Yeah, only because of the mice. So now I will go a little differently. I probably won't bring my bike. So the trail really isn't that hard, especially if you're just hiking it. We saw
Hiking's good.
a lot of people, including that Swedish bikini team that I've nicknamed that group of 6 girls that we saw, that they were powering past us. I was like, oh, rotten. Anyway, them and their 20-pound packs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've got set up for next year is a lighter raft by half. And anyway, I've already weighed all my gear, put it together, and including the camping gear, it's 22 pounds. That's including food, space. But the reason it was so heavy was because I had all that high-end camera gear with me, and
too much.
It was too much for that hike. It was what I needed. So I might talk to the lodge and maybe ship something ahead so that I might have it.
Those guys are so accommodating. I don't see them saying no to that.
Yeah, if I shipped it to the Klein River helicopters there and or Rocky Mountain, whatever their name is in Klein River, you know, maybe they'll fly it over with some guests prior to or something. But at that stage, I mean, heck, some of these like your Ultra 23. Whatever it is, 23 Ultra, it shoots in 4K unbelievable anyway. So I've been editing some of your stuff already and it's pretty phenomenal. So, and it's almost too much for my computer as it is.
Isn't that crazy? Like, you know, you can go with the most expensive cameras and they do offer a lot of extra options and all that stuff. But the current power of modern phones is unreal.
I know there's only 2 of you watching right now. This is more designed for a rebroadcast. But is there anybody there that has any questions for us while we're about the trail? What you can expect?
You can mock us too if you like. That's fine.
Well, you can mock him. I don't like being mocked.
I'm okay with it. It's fine.
To my back, maybe. Yeah. So anyway, this where does it go back to the beginning? Where is it? This right here is the whole reason. Look at that, glorious. And so I did speak with people. That one gentleman that I walked past, or that walked past us, that said, "Hey, can you watch me while I cross the river?" That was concerned that we'd have to put his name on his tombstone or something. I did get in contact with some people that he met up with on Facebook, and they said that they didn't catch a fish every cast, but they got a bite every cast.
Wow.
I mean, that's phenomenal. And they're fly fishing too, right? So,
Yeah.
and that adds, a little more degree of I don't know, challenge. So they did well. And anyway, the trip is being planned. If you guys want to know anything about setting it up or how to, because one of the things that lodges can be expensive, but they're expensive because of the flight. The cost to get over is expensive. Fuel is expensive. Everything has gone up. You all know that. But if you want to set up a package where you actually hike in a couple days and then cross, they'll pick you up and you can stay at at the lodge for a couple days and then you can hike back. So, it's the perfect combination of two worlds where you you get to get out into the middle of nowhere and do some camping, and then you can go over and have a shower, a hot tub, a couple amazing meals, clean up, and then actually head back and do a couple more days of camping, or maybe one day straight out, because you can float literally from the camp or on the other side straight out on the Chaba right down to Big Bend, which is at the beginning. So you technically only have to walk at that point 6.5K home. You don't even have to walk that whole bit. So that's the cool part of that whole thing is you can float 80% of that trip back out.
Yeah.
Just sit and relax.
So in conclusion,
yes,
we did not make it to Fortress. We only made it halfway to Fortress. We spent the night or over halfway actually. Yeah. We spent the night with no camping gear at all. We had a good time still, but that's the way it goes. And then the next day we hiked out, and that was it. That was kind of our Fortress trip for this year. It's unfortunate, but like Scott says, there's a lot of things that you can learn. Lighten your pack, take less things, do all of those things in order to make your body get in there, and maybe a little bit more training.
And it's not like I didn't train.
You did.
You that didn't I did tons and tons of hiking.
I did not train.
I did bike rides twice a week that were quite extensive.
Yeah.
I even tried powering through a 14K just to see how long it would take. But the only thing I didn't do was do them back to back, like actually do a bike ride and then follow directly up with a.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So lesson learned there. But I think next year I probably won't bring a bike. I think I'll walk the whole way. I was fine walking out. Tired and uncomfortable.
You were, yeah.
So coming in with half that weight and not being tired, I think it'll be pretty easy for me.
Yeah, I think individual pack rafts is the way to go to, 5 pounds each or whatever. And yeah, I think that's a better way for sure.
I think there's 7 with the paddle. So it's not so bad. Not so bad. All right. Well, thanks for joining me on this, Dwayne. And mostly people keep asking what happened on the trip. And then instead of repeating it 47 times, now they can watch this and get a gist of it and fast forward through. I'll go in and put some markers so that people can fast forward to the interesting parts.
Love you long time.
Thank you. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and thanks for joining those 2 individuals, whoever you are. Appreciate you, and probably my other accounts.
Live long and prosper.
See, he's still geeked out with Star Trek.
Sorry,
or is that Star Wars?
Listen.
Ouch,
we might get into a fight after this.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Dwayne, and I know you won't be joining me next year, but I know you'll go. I know you'll get there.
Yeah, I definitely want to get in there soon. Fortress looks amazing, and I can't wait.
Awesome. And again, thanks, Fortress, for putting up with our our BS and didn't make it. And
thanks for your patience.
Thanks for Sticky and Pack Rafts for supplying that raft for this trip. And we have already, in fact, I aired one already today of some stuff that we've done on the. So if you do want to see it, go ahead and have a look. The Pack Raft.
Sticky and Pack Rafts, check them out because they make an awesome raft at so light.
And it's in Vancouver. It's in Canada, which is amazing.
Canadian company, gotta love that.
Gotta love it. Okay. Good night, everybody. Good day. Good morning, wherever you are. Take care.
Take care.